Welcome to this Logicalis videocast. My name is Brandon Harris. I'm the Vice President of the Modern Data Center practice here at Logicalis, and today I'm joined by one of our product managers focused on Power and Power Cloud offerings, Paul Abram. Paul and I have both been with Logicalis for many years and bring a lot of experience to this topic. So, Paul, thanks for joining me on the call today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So maybe as a starting point, Paul, and again, we're here to talk about hybrid cloud from an IBM Power perspective. What are some of the key use cases where a customer who's got a Power environment might want to consider more of a hybrid strategy?
Whenever I think about the concept of hybrid cloud, I always think back to the idea that it's a combination of the private cloud, what the customer has on premise, with public cloud offerings. Public cloud might be the Logicalis cloud, might be the IBM cloud, might be any sort of cloud. But I always look back to the on-premise environment first, and say, have we modernized this environment to a degree that I can take advantage of hybrid cloud offerings? So I would look at the primary site first. I would look at opportunities to virtualize the entire environment wherever possible, from the storage to the physical adapters, the Ethernet adapters, fiber, the backup solutions. That provides the customer with the agility they're looking for in a lot of cases. From there, you add on software like IBM's Power VC, virtual cloud. That allows customers to spin up environments more rapidly, adjust environments more rapidly, de-integrate environments more rapidly. Once you get the on-premise solution down, use cases for hybrid cloud, probably the two most common that come up are disaster recovery and backup. That's what we get asked about all the time. I always bring that back to the fundamental questions of what are we trying to accomplish here. That's what you find with Logicalis, and we're always going to come back to requirements. People say they want it for disaster recovery. I always start with, what are you doing today, and what do you want when we're done? Because we offer a higher availability in our cloud. So customers that are on premise, they replicate out to our cloud real time. That gives them higher levels of availability. It gives them opportunities to do target site backup. So it's a combination of the two things they started with.
So can you talk a little bit about the unique capabilities and offerings that Logicalis has from a Power Cloud perspective specifically?
Sure. I think when you look at what we do with IBM Power Systems and our enterprise cloud, we've developed very granular service offerings. The reason we did that is we wanted customers to be able to customize a solution to meet their requirements. So we built very granular offerings. Customers can buy the smallest of compute, 0.05 cores. That's the smallest LPAR you can create. We support that. They can buy fractions of cores to build up their environment to meet their needs. They can add the memory they need. We've got the storage they can add in gigabyte increments. We've got virtual tapes and that allow customers to back up to their heart's content. Whatever they want to protect and how often they want those backups, they can buy the virtual tapes to meet those needs. We have offerings like backup vaulting services to get a second copy of their data off-site. From a disaster recovery, we talked about that as a hybrid cloud use case. For DR, we have the notion of reserve compute and reserve memory. If I'm replicating out to the cloud, I don't need that full amount of compute and memory on a daily basis. I need it when I need to fail over. So we have reserved instances. So we've matured our offerings over the years. We continue to evolve our solutions, and then we front that with what we call a cloud design approach that we use to understand the customer's requirements, then we match that to our offerings.
And if a customer is running their environment in our Power Cloud, right, what's a fully managed solution, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, all of our offerings from the the enterprise network, the compute, the memory, the servers, the storage, everything is covered with 24/7 coverage from a Logicalis perspective. What our customers do is they pay for the infrastructure as a service. They pay for the remote management of that environment. And as they grow their environment or they add services, they can do that as the requirements change.
So we spent a little time on the Logicalis Power Cloud. IBM also has a Power Cloud that they call Power VS. What are some of the distinctions, or when would I pick the Logicalis Power Cloud or the IBM Power VS environment?
Yeah, IBM has announced their offerings. They've been out there for a year or so. I think all of it always comes back to gathering the requirements of what the customer is trying to accomplish. Once we understand what their requirements are, we might decide that you're really not a cloud candidate at all. You should stay on-premise. You should have a dedicated private cloud. Maybe you should co-locate that. The instances where you might say you should, be an IBM Cloud perspective, I think we have a lot of strength on the IBMI side at Logicalis with the offerings we've developed. I think if we looked at AIX and Linux from a IBM Cloud perspective, that's probably when I would look that direction, especially from a Linux perspective. I mean, IBM made a massive investment in Red Hat for a reason. And as you look at their cloud offerings and you start to look at their Kubernetes and their OpenShift sort of solutions around Red Hat, and I think that makes perfect sense.
My final question, Paul, can you kind of talk about, and again, you and I have been in the business a long time, but can you talk a little bit about Logicalis' expertise with IBM in general and specifically around IBM Power?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Logicalis has been an IBM Premier Business Partner for longer than I can remember. I've been here for 15 years. We have a team of solution architects, technical solution architects that know IBM Power systems inside and out, dating back to the era of Power 4 and before to today's current Power 10 solutions. They not only know the power system infrastructure and server technologies, they understand the software that supports those environments. They understand IBM storage solutions, backup solutions. So from an IBM Power system perspective, we're committed to the business. We support hundreds of customers that run either IBMI, Linux, or AIX workloads. We help those customers with on-premise solutions. And if they need on-premise, we have 24/7 managed services we can wrap around that solution. If they want a hybrid cloud solution, we've got a cloud that they can replicate to, and we can wrap that with 24/7 managed services. And if it makes more sense for them to just migrate into the cloud, whether it's our cloud or the IBM cloud, we got the services to migrate a customer into the cloud and the management services to support it ongoing.
Paul, thanks for joining me today. I really enjoyed this conversation. If you'd like to learn more about Logicalis and our capabilities around IBM Power, you can visit our website at www.us.logicalis.com. And out there you can request a meeting. If you already have an account executive at Logicalis, I encourage you to reach out to them and learn more about what we have to offer in this space. With that, I'll thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation today and our discussion, and hope everybody has a great rest of your day.